Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. This is a surprise end of year episode, something short, powerful, and designed to shift the trajectory of your entire next year. Today we're talking about reverse engineering your 2026 and how to make your goals and your intentions inevitable. Over the years, I've used so many tools like visualization, scripting, habit stacking, future self journaling, nervous system regulation, identity work, and each one has helped me in a meaningful way. But reverse engineering your year takes everything. I mean, everything to another level. This is the gift I want to give you for Christmas. So here it is. Let's talk about what this means. Reverse engineering your year forces you to think and imagine in detail what the future version of you will require. And you quickly realize that your current identity hasn't yet stepped fully into the being who achieves those things. That's the gap we close today. So grab a pen and paper. I don't know. You might want to re-listen to this maybe after the end and take some notes and see what you've been already implementing and how this can take you to the next phase or next level of achieving your goals, intentions, resolutions, whatever you at this moment in your life call them. We all set something because if not, we're stagnant, right? So, all right. Most people, when we set goals, from where we are today, not from who we desire to become. That's why resolutions, I think there's a crazy statistic, fall apart by February. And so this is the gift I want to give you today. This idea and concept of learning how to reverse engineer your year. Okay. When we set goals that are built from our current limitations, they don't survive. Goals built from your future identity are the ones that transform your life. Your identity is your thermostat. You always drift back to what feels familiar, even if it's holding you back. And that's why identity solidification has been such a huge theme for this podcast, because transformation never starts with action. It starts with identity. It starts with who you believe you are deep, deep, deep inside. And so I've spoken a lot about this throughout the year. You can go backwards in 52 episodes and you'll hear this theme running strong throughout a lot of my podcast episodes. So what does it mean to reverse engineer your year? It means that you stop planning from today and you start planning from the finish line. It means decide who you're becoming. It means create the standards that that person lives by, build the systems and environment that makes that person inevitable. You're building your year backwards from future results to present behavior. Very, very detailed work here. We're not working in generalizations. This is where all the tools that you've used start working together, right? If you've used visualization, your scripting, your behavior patterns, nervous system work, your identity shifts. This approach is the integration of everything you have learned throughout the years that I have learned as well. And so let's decide who you are becoming. Who's that person that in December 2026, you're going to look back and say, this is what was required of me. Okay. So you're going to now think of that person. What does this person believe about themselves? What is normal for this person? How does this person handle stress, discomfort, setbacks? What habits feel automatic for this version of you? What standards are non-negotiable? Who are you being? You can't build 2026 from your current level of belief. You just can't. You're not that person yet that has achieved those things that you can see. You build it from that person's identity already. You have to be crystal clear with who she is, with who he is. This is where your visualization works comes in. This is where the self-concept work comes in. It's identity first, always. Okay, so goals tell you what you want. And this is where most of us stop. We know what we want and maybe we write them down. If you're good, you've been writing down your goals. And if you're even better, you are putting it in a place where you can visually see it. You build goals with the standards that you tell yourself you are. I mean, think about your health, your relationships, your business, your spiritual life, your finances. What are these person's standards in all these areas of their life? For example, you can say I follow through, not to prove anything, but because it's who I am now. I no longer abandon myself on hard days. This person prioritizes the work that matters instead of reacting to everything that's urgent, right? We get distracted, we feel busy. You're not that person. You have boundaries that are clear because you value alignment over approval. So you see how these are identity shifts? This is a human that's existing throughout 2026 to help you get to where you want to by the end of the year. This is where scripting and journaling also help. Write from the identity of you, of yourself, of who you are in 2026. Anchor the beliefs, anchor the mindset. Make them familiar so your nervous system feels safe embodying them. These standards create the internal structure that your actions will follow. Trust me, this is like if there's a hack, this is a hack to get things rolling faster. It's those identity shifts that are deeply embedded in us, sometimes subconsciously if you haven't done any self-awareness work, any journaling, any things where you start to discover those things are deeply there and just you're living automatically by them and you can't even recognize them. If you have done some of this work, maybe with a therapist, maybe journaling, meditation, you've done this work, you've done this inner work, you start to realize that there's things that you didn't want to write and you didn't want to create that as your identity, but as children, as teens, with our environment, with those who we grew up with, the things we listened to, heard from our loved ones, from friends, from all these phases and stages of our lives, the traumas that we went through, they wrote scripts in our hearts and our minds. And do we want to keep those? And that's what adulthood means, is to forgive the past, learn from the past, let go, heal, evolve, take what we want and become the human beings that all those elements from our childhood and our environment can work towards our benefit and create who we truly are. And this is a job that we continue to do. Identity is not static. It doesn't stay forever. Only those things that we want to solidify and we want to consciously accept as our identity, so then they can work. But it's also fluid. You might change later on, right? So the next step is that you need to start engineering the systems in your environment. The identity is the why, right? The standards are the who, and the systems are how we do this. Your 2026 identity becomes real when you build the logistics that support this individual. This means the micro commitments of every day, small daily actions that compound. 5 minutes of reading, because you want to read 52 books in that year. You're a reader, you're an educated person, you want to expand your mind. So you read 5 minutes a day. You want to become a writer, you want to journal. So you're spending 10 minutes of writing. You take a quick walk because you want to achieve 10,000 steps a day, right? So you take a quick walk in the morning, a quick walk in the evening, you move around. You create a simple morning routine because you desire peace in your day. You're someone who wakes up and wants to settle the nervous system, not wake up rushed and anxious and overwhelmed by the day. Maybe you want to work on that in 2026. You want to be someone who wakes up the majority of the time in a peaceful mindset, in a way to conquer the day. And so you engineer a morning that works for that starts to embody that. These tiny actions keep the identity alive. So with your environment, making the aligned behavior easy and the old patterns harder, this is what we do. We create that environment to create friction against the old version and to create ease for that new person we want to create. If 2026 you is someone who creates your laptop is on the desk, right? Like me, I leave my laptop, I leave my microphone somewhere where I can see it all the time. So I know because I'm a podcaster. I have embodied that this year. Your notebook is open. Your phone is on do not disturb. If 2026 you is someone who prioritizes their health, your gym clothes are out the night before, your meals are planned early in the week, you schedule space for movement. Success becomes the default with these micro decisions and with you manipulating your environment in a strategic way that works for you. You're designing your life. You are the driver of your life. So sometimes we procrastinate. I want to talk about a little bit about this. Why do we procrastinate these goals? Why do we wait? Why do we hold things back? The procrastination really isn't laziness. There's a lot of research on this. It's identity conflict. You procrastinate when the action doesn't match who you believe yourself to be. But when you reverse engineer your year, you choose from your future identity. You're thinking like this person. You're acting like this person. You show up with this person's standards. You operate inside systems that support this consistency. Procrastination loses its power because you're no longer trying to become her. You're acting from that person. All right. So if you can spend some time right now doing a quick visualization, if you're not driving, close your eyes for a moment and imagine it's December 31st, 2026. You are reflecting on the year. You're proud, you're grounded, you're clear. You lived in alignment with the identity you claimed. Ask yourself, what did you achieve? Who did you become? What became easy? What did you stop tolerating? What habits became second nature? What did 2026 require from you that 2025 you must begin today? Hold that version of yourself in your mind. That's your blueprint. That's the person you reverse engineer your year around. So remember, your 2026 isn't something to earn, it's something to claim. Talked about that in the podcast. It's something to build backward from. It's something to embody now. So I invite you to reverse engineer your year, make your identity the strategy, make your actions inevitable. I love you, and I'll see you in 2026. For real now, I promise. I'm taking a break. See you in 2026.